Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today. This one's going to be doing a review for the Walking Dead universe. And in today's video, we're going to be doing another video. This one's going to be doing another Q&A video. And our first one after the Dead City Season 2 premiere. We're going to go through you guys' comments, you guys' thoughts, and all this upcoming stuff. And what you thought about the first episode of Dead City Season 2. So, the Walking Dead universe is back. I'm going to be doing these Q&As every single week now leading into the next episodes of Dead City, of course. Got a lot of comments and a lot of responses from you guys from the first episode that I definitely want to go over. And in terms of, the first episode, it was really, really good. Like, I really liked the start of the season. I thought it started off really, really good. And, as y'all saw, I had no issues with it. I thought it really set the tone of the season well. It really set things up in a great way. And overall, I thought it was really, really good. So, getting things started here from the first comment from SLX, who says, man, I gotta say, I'm really seeing the parallels between Rick and Negan, doing anything they need to do to protect their family, whether it's evil or good. Yeah, I'm noticing that too, because obviously Negan, which that was a huge, throw off in episode 1 for me, is that the reason he's even doing this at all is because they threatened his family, and they know the whereabouts of Annie and Joshua, which is, his wife and son. So he's having to do these evil things to keep his family alive. I really think that's an interesting development too, because again, that is in Negan's character. He would do anything to make sure that they remain alive. And if somebody has the, advantage against his family, then he would do just about anything. And that's very similar actions to Rick, right? That is very true. Rick, he knew that, Carl and Judith and the rest of his group were, at stake. So he provided for Negan and he did whatever Negan asked him to. And it's funny that now Negan is the one doing the thing for somebody else, right? So it's very interesting. It goes to show you that they're not all that different. Negan and Rick, they're not all that different. I'm sure Rick would have a hard time agreeing with that, but it's true. They're not all that different, and that's the interesting thing about their characters. That's why I like seeing, Negan and Rick kind of have similar scenarios like that, is because, yeah, they, in a way, they are pretty similar. And that's, the one thing I do like about their characters. Now they're paralleling that, and that's why I like that they brought Negan's family into the, situation, because it does feel like it's like, yeah, like, they're kind of going through a very similar situation in a weird way, you know what I mean? The next one comes from Snake, who says that, man, I love this premiere. I saw it today, really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the Maggie pit fights. Negan's speech was priceless, and it was a very enjoyable episode overall. Yes, agreed. In particular, the speech. I think the speech was my favorite part of the episode, the part where he's, lining up the people in the room and stuff like that, and then you got the one guy that comes up to him, and Negan's pointing the bat in his face, and he's like, get that fucking thing out of my face, Negan's like, nah, and then friggin' lights that shit up, that was great. I love that scene, and I love the fact that Bruegel didn't talk. I know some people were annoyed by it, but I felt like it was a really interesting thing that it's like, an actor could say so much without saying anything yet, you know what I mean? And the thing is, we know he's gonna talk, we've seen it in the trailer, so we know he's gonna talk, it's just the matter of the first episode. I like the way they kind of did that, you know what I mean? I thought that was pretty cool. And I agree, Maggie and her plot was great too. New Babylon and the war going on between the two groups, it is not anything I expected to see, and I mean that in a great way. It was really kind of a throw off from the advertising, because I thought Maggie and Herschel were just going to take a bit of a trip, you know what I mean, to New York and go back for Negan. That's not at all what they're doing, you know what I mean? Herschel thinks that's what Maggie's doing, but I don't think that's what's going on at all. So, yeah. And we've already pre-established like this big war going on and stuff. It was a really hooking start to what I think is going to be a really great season overall. And I think they did a really good job with it. The next one comes from Why We All Love Deadpool, who says that I honestly am glad that these actors aren't in the MCU. They are so terrible. Man, JDM, really? JDM, Lauren Cohen? Bad actors? I don't know, man. To each their own, but I can't see it. These actors are doing a bang-up job, if you ask me. They're doing a great job. They've done a great job on the original Walking Dead for all those years. They've done a great job on this show as well, too. I don't see how they are bad actors, at all. I'm trying to think of any actors that are bad on this show. Like, I can't say any of them are not doing what they're supposed to do, honestly. Like, I've seen bad actors. I saw bad actors on Daryl Dixon last year on season 2. Those Greenland characters, they could not act at all. They were terrible. No offense to those people that, played them. They could not act at all. Those are bad actors. These actors, I think, are fantastic. I think they've done a great job with them. I think they do great, and especially Lauren and Jeffrey. I mean, they're spectacular. Especially if you're talking about like the greats, like Lauren, Jeffrey, Norman, Melissa. Like those, no, like those especially. Those are great actors. But even the original ones too, like Croat, Armstrong. You know what I mean? Colonel Lucia. These are all great actors in my opinion. So I'd like to highlight that because it's funny. Your criticism is not the only person I've seen that said that. A lot of people that have watched this season have mentioned that, and a lot of early reviewers have said that there's bad acting this season as well. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at all. I'm just not seeing it. Obviously, maybe, time will tell. Maybe there will be bad actors this season, but at least so far, I don't know. I'm not seeing it so far. I think the acting has been really, really great so far. The next one comes from William, who says that, honestly, I felt like we were back at some main show peak there sometimes during this episode. Kind of reminded me of the original series with some of the vibes and some of the scenes that we had. Honestly, really great episode overall. Yeah, I could see that, man. And that's why I say that Dead City is my favorite spinoff, is because it feels like a continuation of the original series in some aspects, at least. I mean, obviously there's new elements. Obviously there's new things. The setting is different, but it feels the most familiar to me, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel so different. Like, when I watched, like, the Daryl teaser that came out a few days ago, I was like, man, like, this doesn't feel anything like The Walking Dead. And it's almost like, it's like too different, you know what I mean? This feels like what The Walking Dead is, you know what I mean? It has those vibes, it has that type of, feeling to it and stuff, and that's what I like about Dead City. It genuinely feels like a continuation of the original series, at least an aspect of the original series continuing on, and that's what I like about this show a lot. That's why I support it so much, because I really think they've captured a lot of the elements of the original show in a great way. They really have. I think they've done a great job, and I think this would have been some great TV original plots for the original series had they have continued on with the main show past the Commonwealth and past, some of that stuff. I think New Babylon and, the New York plot, I think it would have been a good plot for the original series. I really do. I think it would have been really interesting. I think it would have been a very fun and interesting storyline. I think Janae and the pouvoir and all that could have been an interesting storyline on the main show, but again, it's hard to say if they would have wasted it like they did in the Daryl show, you know what I mean? Because I feel like the Daryl show kind of missed the opportunity with, that group. The Barazi and New Babylon, so far at least, I'm really enjoying the war going on. I'm enjoying the conflict going on. And I think it's been really good. I think it's been a really intriguing storyline so far. So hopefully, fingers crossed that they will do it right and that they will execute it in a good way. But I do have faith because, again, this has been a really good storyline up to this point. So I think it'll be good. I think that, in terms of the direction of the story, I think everything will be said and done with the Barazi, at least, by the end of season 2. Maybe, right? Which I would be good with, because again, you don't want to drag it out too long either, but I think all that stuff will be concluded by the time the season comes to an end. Yeah, that's what I think. Which, again, that's a perfect time to do it if you ask me. I think that's a perfect time to get all that stuff done. The next one comes from Dylan, who says that, man, honestly, I gotta say, I don't really understand why the guy with the glasses is getting advertised as a series regular, but Kim Coates is not a series regular this season. Yeah, that is weird. He's not even in the credits at the beginning of the intro. I actually did notice that. Kim Coates is not really advertised name-wise on this intro at all, which I think would be very warranted for him to be, because, again, to me, he's the most exciting new addition of this season. I am very excited to see him. I'm very excited about the potential with the type of actor you have. If anybody's not familiar with him, he's on Sons of Anarchy, and he's fantastic on that show. And I think Bruegel will be a great character. I've heard from early reviewers that he's underused. I hope that that's not the case. But again, you're also talking about the early reviewers that are saying that Lauren Cohan can't act, which Lauren Cohan can act, right? I mean, the first episode proves it. Lauren Cohan is not doing a bad job. I don't understand where people are coming out with that and why people are coming out with that, but they are for some reason. So that's why I don't believe that Bruegel is going to be underused. I feel like he's going to be really good. I feel like they're going to use him in a good way. Hopefully, at least, right? We could hope. But, if it's any indication of the way they talk about Lauren Cohan's acting, then honestly, I'm going to see this out because I think that Kim Coates is probably going to really, really stand out this season on Dead City, and I'm looking forward to it. And then finally, the last two come from Yo and Curtis, who say basically that, Dan, This season, I honestly don't get why it even still exists after what they did to the France storyline. And then obviously Curtis also says, Dan, I gotta say that honestly, this is where I disagree with you. This is the type of show that honestly I think is gonna do better. Dead City is more cringeworthy to me, whereas with Daryl, I can take it more seriously. And honestly, if you don't like the show, just stop watching it. There's many other things you could do your videos on that I would much rather see anyway. And basically, that's kind of how they mention it. So yeah, I understand that, right? Some people say that I'm being too harsh on Daryl. But here's the thing, right? Trust me, I want to give up the Daryl show, and a lot of people would say, "Oh, it's so difficult, to give up the show." Why would you say that? Look, the reason why I say it's difficult to give up the Daryl show is because I would wonder what's going on with Daryl, right? Because I've been invested in that character for 15 years. So it's not as easy as you just saying, oh, don't watch the show, right? Just don't watch it, Am I happy with the direction of that show? Do I wish the show even fucking existed at this point? No. But I'm still going to watch it. You know what I mean? I have respect for Norman Reedus. I have respect for Daryl's character. Even still, though, I don't like the direction of where they're taking his character. I want him to be back in the States. I want him to be back at home, get some reunions that we want out of the way, and, do some things that are valuable to the story. They're not doing that yet. So I have to watch the Daryl show because I'm invested in his story, and I want to know what is going to happen before he gets back home. So I am unfortunately stuck to that show. So that's the way it is. Trust me, I feel obligated watching the Daryl show. I do not feel obligated watching Dead City. Dead City is one I am passionately watching.
Mi pasión.
I have the passion for it, right? But, with Daryl Dixon, not really. I just have loyalty to Daryl, I have loyalty to Norman, and I have loyalty to this franchise, so I'm forcing myself to watch it. I'll admit it. I will admit it. And I do agree with Yo, who says that the show is kind of just going downhill after what they did to the France storyline. Exactly, because I can't trust that the Spain storyline is not going to do the same thing, which is give us an interesting plot, and then in the second season, throw it all away. You know what I mean? They might do that. So, and I'm prepared for that. But see, that's why I'm not excited for this season, right? So, that's kind of the reason right there. But yeah, I am, pulling for it. I do want to enjoy the Daryl show, but again, it's a hard, it's a hard bargain right now. It really is. So, let me know your thoughts. Post your comments down below, guys. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, be sure to click subscribe button to miss any of the videos. Make sure to follow me on Dan's Reviews Official on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos for Dead City leading up to episode 2. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a straight fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.